So I wanted to do a deeper dive around the differences around deterministic data and probabilistic of where you guys sit in a pretty unique position, not just in the OTT space, but overall in television. From a measurement standpoint, being able to know the profiles, and we know that people certainly share, but with co-viewing, what are some of the challenges right now, and where the buy side has been adapting to appreciating and understanding what the viewing landscape is like for a typical Hulu audience today?
Yeah, so I mean, living in a world where we have first-party subscriber level data is really awesome, because we see a lot of really interesting viewer behavior traits that don't really emerge from traditional sort of Nielsen data. So just really interesting, for a researcher and someone who loves television, it's like a treasure trove of goodies of really interesting types of behavior that emerge when people have complete choice and control over their TV viewing. So that part's really great. From a currency and measurement perspective, it's a little bit of a challenge, because there's the notion of addressable TV, which is really addressable to a household or a device, and we'll get to a place where we're addressable to a profile, but that doesn't account for the viewers in the room. For as long as television has existed, it's been a collective medium where families and friends get together and watch something together, and no amount of first-party data is going to measure those viewers in the room at that same time. So that's where we work with third-party measurement companies, panel companies like Nielsen and Comscore, and anybody else who might come along in that space. And there are always upstart measurement companies like that, to get at who are the people that are most likely to be sitting in front of that room. And that's all probabilistic, but it's based on data. It's based on data that we share with those partners. It's based on household level composition data that comes from people like Experian, and it's based on census level data from the ads that are being served, and the metadata associated with the viewing. So all of that comes together to come up with what we call a viewer assignment model that says, in this situation, with this campaign, and this genre, and this time of day, and this device, in this household that we know about, this is the most likely scenario of who is sitting in front of that ad at that time. And so far, we've been rolling this out in the marketplace as currency, along with our owners and media partners, and the data's been pretty intuitively comfortable. It seems like this makes a lot of sense, and it's really a correction from the way that we were monetizing OTT previously, which treated the screen the same as a one-to-one screen like a mobile device or a laptop.
So the way that your content is being viewed has certainly changed. I'm curious about what you're seeing in terms of how you're feeding Peter's sales team and how they're going to market, of who the actual buyer is, and accessing this. I mean, are you seeing changes at the agencies and brands where there's a little more unification, and the methodology around how that audience is being tracked is making more sense to someone who has come from a digital background or someone who's come from a television background? Are you seeing the best of both coming in? Are you seeing Hulu's buyers tending to be more television-like buyers traditionally, and coming with their own metrics and history and having to kind of move them into this digital world, or more the reverse from
I'd say
TV,
definitely
digital TV?
from both places.
Yeah.
So we work with a lot of more traditional advertisers who live in sort of a reach and frequency world, and what they want to understand is, I understand there's some ratings contraction that's going on in linear TV, or shifts in the way that people are viewing television. So I want to understand how to make up for that reach. What incremental do I get on Hulu for these particular audiences? And those tend to be age and gender driven targets. And increasingly, even those more traditional advertisers are also experimenting with data, adding more data to those audience segments, or addressability and all that stuff that's happening now. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you have these more direct-to-consumer advertisers, of which Hulu was one. I mean, we were one of the originals, who just sort of market and operate in a different way, where they start in a digital-specific world where they're buying Facebook and Instagram display, and they're able to measure that very quickly, and with some one-to-one accuracy, because it's all sort of cookie-based environments where they see, this person saw the ad, we had whatever conversion. That's a little harder to execute in an OTT environment, but we're doing it. And we enable those advertisers to sort of take their traditional digital sort of nascent marketing into more of a storytelling environment where they have different types of creative. We can help develop that creative. And they can reach an audience that is really sort of accustomed to using those types of products and services and brands. We know that our audience, they chose Hulu because they want choice and control. They like the environment, and they just want a different way of watching TV, in the same way that these other brands have, these direct-to-consumer brands have made all of those categories a little bit more accessible to consumer by allowing them that type of direct relationship and choice and control.
Nice. Audience plus content, no matter where it comes from. Julie from Hulu, thank you.
Thank you.